Okay.
I'd like to call the regular council meeting for the town of Bay-Westfield for Monday, November 28, 2022 to order at 7 o'clock p.m. We respectfully acknowledge that Bay-Westfield exists on the traditional Woolastook land. The lands of Wabanaki people are recognized in a series of peace and friendship treaties to establish an ongoing relationship of peace, friendship, and mutual respect between equal nations. The river that runs by our town is known as Woolastook, along which live Woolastook Way, the people of the beautiful and bountiful river. We, the staff and elected representatives, pay respect to the elders, past and present, and descendants of this land. Good evening, everyone. It's November 28th, and in one short hour, the polls will close across the province for the historical municipal elections which have taken place due to local governance reform. I would like to thank everyone from one end of the province to the other who offered for public service during this time. I would also like to offer my most heartfelt congratulations to our own new councillor-elect representing Ward 2, Carrie Burpee. Welcome to the team. We are looking forward to working with you. This past weekend was the second annual Mayor's Tree Lighting. I'd like to thank the Community Vitality Committee, our incredible staff, the participating businesses, and most importantly, every single person who came out on Saturday night to make it such a wonderful event for the community. I love seeing you all so much. And between you and me, I was particularly thrilled when the lights actually went on at the end of November this year. So, thank you all again for joining us in our own special kickoff to the holiday season. Move on to item 4, record of attendance. Let the record reflect that we have a full roster of attendance with Councillor Day attending virtually. Item 5, agenda approval. The motion is that the Council of the Town of Bay-Westfield approve the agenda of November 28, 2022 as presented. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Balcom. Do I have a second? Councillor Bailman. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thank you. Item 6, disclosure of conflict of interest. Are there any? There being none, we'll move on to item 7, public hearings, presentations, delegations, petitions. 7A, fire services update. And we have our Deputy Chief Adam Reid here. Welcome.
Thank you, Your Worship. Fire Chief, while he's on vacation, he's asked me to address Council, bring you guys up to speed on a couple of initiatives and projects we have on the go. One of the long-standing projects I've been working on personally is a tanker shuttle. The Fire Underwriters Survey evaluates the fire protection services of various communities along with their fire risk levels. They're a national organization, and they publish their findings to 90% of the private insurance companies in Canada. One of the ways to get water to a fire scene is through a tanker shuttle. That is most common in areas that aren't serviced by fire hydrants. I'm sure everybody knows that Bay-Westfield does not have municipal water service. So a tanker shuttle will utilize large trucks, of course, to move high volumes of water from a source, like we'd have at Westfield Crescent perhaps, to a fire scene. There are 3 others besides Westfield Crescent. The fire departments can apply to have their tanker shuttle accredited by the fire underwriters and potentially have the fire insurance grade reflect that proficiency in delivering large volumes of water. A better grade for the community is then passed along to the insurance companies for their consideration when they set their rates. For the fire department to receive accreditation, several criteria must be met. The fire underwriters are the independent third party that will observe and conduct the test. The fire department must be able to deliver 200 gallons per minute at a minimum within 5 minutes of arriving. They also must be able to maintain that flow for 2 hours. all apparatus participating in the test must be less than 20 years old. And of course, all water sources have to be available 24/7, 365. The test is construed or organized to get you at your most vulnerable portion. If you can keep up as a fire service with, at your worst, being the fires farthest away from your water sources, farthest away from your fire station, then you should be able to meet all the easier criteria. Say if the fire was next door to a water source. While it's up to the individual insurers to determine their level of comfort with recognizing the accreditation of the fire underwriters, they can equate it to having a hydrant system. If the insurance companies recognize the accreditation, insurance rates for homeowners could be reduced. And the replacement of our 23-year-old rescue truck is imperative to achieving this accreditation. All fire apparatus that we would need to have water on it to achieve this. Hopefully late next year, we'll have achieved that goal of having all trucks carry water. Chief also wanted to update on our tabletop exercise for EMO, conducted by ESI. We had a great exercise 2 weeks ago. Fantastic volunteers. Would have done it without them. Great participation by the staff. And we learned a lot of things about ourselves and where our shortfalls may come and where our strengths are and how we can keep growing and training and learning. And the volunteer firefighters had a food drive on the weekend. I'm sure everybody saw that. They raised $3,000 in cash and a nice chunk of donated food, which I believe they are assembling as we speak to be delivered to the food bank. Good.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. I'm going to open up to questions. Councillor Bale.
How long did it take to set that up, that apparatus? How long?
The shuttle?
Yeah.
Well, we train on that quite regularly, but we can set that up in 10 minutes. The trucks are all equipped with everything, and at a moment's notice, of course, we operate as a tanker shuttle for just about every fire. Seldomly does a fire happen right next to your water source,
right, or
within 1,000 feet or something where you can deploy hose lines. So anytime we have a fire event, we shuttle water, and majority of our training events we are shuttling water. So we're constantly practicing. Do
you get to find level ground to put this on, or does you level ground, like even ground, or?
The tanks have to be set up on level ground. I don't know if you noticed the plastic yellow tanks in the pictures there. They need to be set up on level ground, otherwise the weight of the water will bow the tank. So but we have long enough hoses that we can manipulate those any which way we need to.
Okay, that's good. Yep.
Any other questions for Deputy Chief? I have a few. You say that we're graded 3. What does that actually mean, and where does that fit in the scale?
So the fire underwriters, they will routinely survey communities and fire services. We were last surveyed in August 2021. So it's just a phone or email survey where they will ask us, okay, how many volunteers do you have? How many trucks do you have? What are the ages of the trucks? How much water do they carry? They go through great detail, and then they take that and they give you a grade based on that. And if you want to go to the extra mile like we do and have our tanker shuttle accredited, then that can actually increase the grade. It's 1 through 5, and grade 3 has an A and B for some reason. So we're hoping that once we receive our new truck late next year, we'll be able to deploy this tanker shuttle and have it accredited to their standards.
That's awesome. So you said that there are water sources around the town. Just for people watching who may not know, where are those water sources?
We have one here at the main station, Station 1 in Grand Bay. There's 2 tanks stored underground, and all the trucks have a remote to open the door, and there's a pump sitting on the floor. It's also the same case for Westfield Crescent, up by the flashing light. There's a pond there that we've got a pipe sticking up in the middle of the pond, and we draw water out of it. Up in Beverly Hills on Morningside Crescent, there's a little brick building there. There's 2 tanks stored underground there as well. There's 18,000 gallons up there. And then we have another 10,000 gallons at our training facility stored underground as well. Most of the are serviced by a pump on site, which allows us to hook up and get water within seconds. The one at the training facility, we have to suck out of the ground.
So I've got another question, sorry.
Sure.
So a lot of people might not know what a tabletop exercise is. Would you just give us a brief description?
So we implored ESI, a local company, to help us with that, known worldwide, to set it up for us, and he did a fantastic job. But we just take a scenario, a real world scenario. In this case, it was an overturned tanker truck that was leaking a poisonous gas, and he set it up for the flashing lights. So we would have traffic diversions and water runoff, and we would have a lot of challenges to overcome. And in the group, in our emergency measures or EMO center, we would have, just like we did on that weekend, was set up several tables where there's several positions, key positions to get solve the emergency. While there's boots on the ground, being the fire department or special services brought in, we would also have a logistical team in place in the building here to help facilitate and support them, whether it be through ordering food or washrooms or getting a truckload of sand to divert runoff and things like that. These things don't happen without the capable staff and volunteers that man our EMO center.
Thank you very much. And just one last question. The Operation Christmas Miracle, how many years has the Fire and Rescue been doing that?
It's almost 10, I think. I've got 8 or 9, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I just wanted to express,
They lost track.
yeah, our appreciation to all of the members for taking part in that. I know it's a big commitment, standing outside all weekend long, and in this case, it wasn't particularly cold, but it was very rainy and blustery, away from your family during a busy time of year to do something that's for the betterment of the community. So I wanted to express my appreciation, the appreciation of council to the work that the members did this past weekend.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Do we have any other questions for the Deputy Chief? Thank you very much.
Go.
So the motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield receive and file the information as presented. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Toole. I have a second. Thank you, Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. Any questions or comments on the motion? Nope, there being none, all in favor?
Right.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thank you. Item 8, minutes of previous meeting. 8A, regular council meeting minutes of November 14th, 2022. The motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of November 14th, 2022 as presented. Thank you, Councillor Bailmans. Do I have a second? Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you. Item 9 is unfinished business. There being none, we'll move on to item 10, bylaws. 10A, bylaw number 20B, amendment to bylaw number 20, Town of Grand Bay-Westfield bylaw respecting the sanitary wastewater system. First reading in its entirety. That the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield, under authority vested in it by Section 10 of the Local Governance Act, SNB 2017 C18, and amendments thereto, enacts an amendment to bylaw number 20, Town of Grand Bay-Westfield bylaw respecting the sanitary wastewater system. Bylaw number 20 is amended as follows. 1. Section 26, bracket 1.1, bracket, is deleted and replaced with a new section, 26, bracket 1.1, bracket, which reads as follows. 26, bracket 1.1, bracket, subject to subsection 26, bracket 1.3, bracket, hereof, the annual user charge per user unit referred to in subsection 26.1, 26, bracket 1, bracket of this bylaw shall be $350. This bylaw comes into force on the date of final passing thereof. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Bellmans. Do I have a second? Councillor Belkin, thank you. John, will you speak to the the item, please?
Yes, your worship. The bylaw relates to the fees, and we're fortunate this year that our CFO and his assistant took the time to do some 5-year projections of both of our operational needs and our capital needs. And as we said at our budget meeting, your worship, he projected that for us to meet some of our targets. The rate this year has to be increased to $350. And then over 5 years, it'll top out, I believe it's at $405. But I'll turn it over to the CFO if I've missed anything, your worship.
Jane?
Yes, your worship. So the sewage utility is a self-funding utility, which means that the user fees that we collected plus covering expenditures that occur. So our projection allowed us to see that $350 is the appropriate amount to charge for 2023. This covers all expenditures and will allow for appropriate funds to be moved into reserves to mitigate any future challenges we may see.
Thank you. We have any questions or comments on the motion? I know I've said this before, but it bears repeating. I'm really pleased with the work that our CAO and our CFO have done on that 5-year projection, so that we know that where we're going and what to expect from 1 year to the next. So thank you for that. Do we have any other questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thank you. Second reading by title. Bylaw number 20B, amendment to bylaw number 20, Town of Grand Bay-Westfield bylaw respecting the sanitary wastewater system. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Toole. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor Bellmans. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? The motion is carried, thank you. Item 11, new business recommendations. 11A, hill construction excavation permit. The motion is that the Council of the Town of Grand Bay-Westfield accept the July 2018 digital plan ultimate rehabilitation of Valentine Pit for excavation of lands identified by PIDs numbers 000-93088, 00227546, 00227595, 300-42899, and accept the Intact Insurance Company Indemnity Bond number 9040-50079, Legacy Bond number HM 000-300-1013, along with endorsement number 29, dated October 28, 2022, reflecting the security amount of $100,000 effective from December 31st, 2022 to December 31st, 2024, with additional operational requirements for the 2023 excavation permit, to provide street sweeping on Valentine Place once per week during the months of June through to October, and provide the town with written records of the dust control measures undertaken within 5 working days of the end of each month, to provide additional dust control measures requested by the building inspector, subject to special and/or unreasonable dust conditions, and not undertake any blasting without prior approval of town council. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Bellmans. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. Judge, to speak to the motion, please.
Yes, your worship, this is an annual application made by Keel Construction. And they're a business that's been ongoing for 80 plus years to the best of my knowledge. And yeah, like we said, there's 3 mitigating measures that are put in place to ensure that the surrounding neighborhoods are, we can't manage everything with dust, but at least we can suppress it or mitigate it to a certain extent. So yes, your worship. And then this stuff, especially the blasting, to go to the development officer, then that's brought before council.
Do we have any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thank you. We'll move on to item 12, which is bills for payment. The motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield authorize the November 28, 2022 bills for payment as presented in the amount for $255,528.02. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Malcolm. Do I have a second? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Toole. Any questions or comments on the motion? Councillor McIntosh Lawrence.
Number 23.
Okay.
I'm just wondering what the revisions covered. Did it update it to make it more user friendly?
So this is the website?
Yeah, this is for M5.
Yeah.
So, first year that I started, this was already in process through the previous council. And what really we need to do every year is do some maintenance and some tweaks, and then every 5 years, give or take, do an overhaul. So this one, we can't answer conclusively because our communications officer deigned to go on vacation. But this probably was about the meetings about what those tweaks would be. So we understand that there'll be some front-end changes, and those aren't public yet. If they're not seen, and then usually there's some back-end changes that would be involved as well, and those would not be seen. So for an example, that may be editing ease for both the communications officer and maybe people who support him while he's out. But I know our rec person, rec program coordinator has been providing support. Is there anything you want to add to that, Rick?
No, I think you've covered it, John. We've already seen mock-ups of the initial sort of public-facing changes, but they're doing the work in the back end before we can go public, and obviously we need Brock to be here, the communications officer, to be here to go through the final approvals, but we've been working together with the CAO, the three of us went back to M5 to work through that.
So for an example, when we did the overhaul of the website, we were spending money. It seemed like it was going left, right, and center, and there's nothing to be seen for it. And then boom, people saw, oh wow, that's brand new. There's a lot of work, and unfortunately, some of the maintenance work is just I'm not a tech person, but there may be corrosion of the programming or something like that needs tweaking, or there's new patches for the software. So it could be any number of things, and without the communications officer being here, I can't really provide specifics.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the motion? No? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thank you. Item 13, consent agenda. 13A, RBCC Level Strategic Plan. B, Prude Inc. AGM Invitation. C, NB Medical Education Foundation Invitation. D, YMCA Newcomer Connections. E, Invitation, St. John Local Immigration Partners. End consent agenda. The motion is that the Council of the Town of Grand Bay-Westfield receive and file the consent agenda items for November 28, 2022. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. Do I have a second? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Toole. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you, Council. We'll move on to item 14, Council reports. I will start off today with Councillor Malcolm.
Thank you. Took me by surprise. Your worship, normally it's at the end. I ended today. Keep us on our toes.
I like that, yeah, I like it.
Thank you, Your Worship. I had the pleasure of attending the mayor's Christmas tree lighting, and it was not that warm, but it also was not that cold. But it was just perfect, actually. Last Saturday night. The previous Saturday, I attended the very early morning work force that was in the full work year at the request of the Royal Canadian Legion to hand dig trenches for the new wiring at the Veterans Peace Park. And Councillor McIntosh Lawrence and Deputy Mayor Toole and Your Worship were there in attendance with your work clothes on as well, so thank you. It was difficult work. It's amazing what you find when you dig down that far, roots of trees and asphalt from a previous road. So it's my understanding that later this week, weather permitting, the contracted company that the Legion has will be installing the conduit, and then I think filling in the trenches is a lot easier than digging them out. And it's my understanding that the wiring will be placed inside the conduit later in the year once the LED lights that are on back order have arrived. So thank you for that. And finally, Your Worship, later this week I have a Harbour TD Station Board meeting that I will be attending representing council.
Thank you, Councillor Falcon. Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. And jump around.
Thank you. A couple of weeks ago, I had the pleasure of meeting in this room with Susan Holt. She is leader of the opposition, and she was gracious enough to come, and the mayor gave a presentation, and she was open to questions, and so that was really, really nice afternoon. Last week, myself and a few other councillors around the table attended the Pro Kids dinner in town. That was a great night. Just seeing all the kids that that fundraiser will help was really eye-opening. And as Councillor Malcolm said, the tree lighting last weekend was very nice, and I think the highlight was when all the lights came on together. And that's about it.
Thank you, Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. Councillor Day.
I have nothing to report at this time.
Thank you, Councillor Day. Councillor Bellman.
Well, the other day I drove by the cenotaph and I saw 3 councillors and 1 mayor leaning on the shovels, but that's okay. So, yeah, I attended the Pro Kids dinner also, and it was a good turnout, and we raised over $3,000 or $4,000.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's a good thing, and then the tree lighting, the mayor's tree lighting too was a good thing. So, a lot of people out there enjoy themselves, big hot chocolate and cookies.
Yeah.
I had that myself, what are you? Please, Santa Claus.
Thank you, Councillor Bellman. And you were on the committee for that dinner, and the dinner was wonderful and a great success, so thank you for that.
Great speakers too there.
Yes, definitely. Deputy Mayor Toole.
Thanks. I had the pleasure of attending stuff that's already been said, which was the Pro Kids dinner, which was awesome. And it was just nice. It's one of the first fundraising dinner in person. I think I've been to it in a long time.
It's my second one.
It was pleasant. So, and the tree lighting was awesome as well, which was really well attended, and people enjoyed it. And I actually got 2 of my 3 teenagers to go, so it was a big win on their part. And I did attend on another one of the local governance reform committee meetings for the Union of Municipalities of New Brunswick, and the main talk of that meeting was today, which was the election day, which the mayor mentioned. So it's welcome to Carrie, and we're looking forward to her joining us. And congratulations to everybody who got a place today in the local governance election.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Toole. And I've actually remembered to prepare my council report here today. So I think one of the highlights of the last couple of weeks was the commissioning of our new solar array on November the 16th. So it was really exciting. You know, it's a big project. It moves us really far along in terms of our climate adaptation and greenhouse gas emission reduction plan. When that thing is going at full bore, it produces 5 houses worth of energy at any given time. So it's 40% of the energy required to power the wastewater facility. And so that almost gets us to our greenhouse gas reduction goal much earlier than planned, which is 2025. So I really need to thank all staff, and I know David's not here today, but David Taylor in particular for getting this important project over the line. I say this all the time, is that, a community on the edge of the river, we've been directly impacted by the effects of climate change, and for us to take a leadership position in environmental areas such as this is important, and it's exciting, and it'll help us move forward into the future with, additional mitigation efforts, hopefully in the future. So, I did the Pro Kids dinner, and that was really fun. I apparently, helped dig trenches at the Peace Park, and yes, there was nothing but roots. So many routes, but yeah, that was fun. Another highlight was I participated in the Westfield and District Recreation Association Dirt Road Christmas Parade. Yeah, Stephanie McIntosh Lawrence was there as well. And Councillor-elect Carrie Burkey was also there. So I need to thank Amber Young and the Westfield and District Recreation Association for organizing such a great event. I have to, special thanks to Tatum Clendenning, who let me ride on her float. So it was really cold and it was a little scary. I was on a trailer and, you know, on a lawn chair in a trailer. But honestly, it was really, it was so fun seeing all the kids, and I had a bag of candy and I was throwing it out, and I just had the best time. So I really need to thank everybody for organizing that and letting me participate. It was really great. I participated in the monthly meeting of Prude's All Women Project, and I know we promoted that on our socials here and there, and on my own Facebook page as well. So Prude's goal with this project is to provide women of all ages, races, ethnicities, religions, sexual orientations, disabilities, a venue to share their voices and personal experiences of obstacles that they experience in their daily life, you know, whether it's getting around, whether it's work, whether it's housing, etc. So these stories will be a foundation to formulate a set of recommendations for the municipalities in the region, so St. John, Quispamsis, Rothsay, Grand Bay-Westfield, Hampton, County St. Martin's, Rural District, etc. So then Prude will then collaborate with all those municipalities to implement these recommendations. So we're at the point now where some of the recommendations are coming to the committee and we're discussing them and saying, you know, if we need to add, amend, remove, that kind of thing. The All Women Project is still looking for women's stories from Grand Bay-Westfield in particular. So if anybody watching wants to reach out to Prude and share one of their stories, or they want to reach out to me to connect them, or if anybody listening knows somebody that has a story of an obstacle that we can learn from, please do so. We'd like to have more representation from the Grand Bay-Westfield and surrounding areas. So, another fun thing I did was I attended Home Hardware Ladies Night, which was a roaring success. It was, I swear that I showed up at 7 o'clock and there was a lineup out the door of 50 people. And the place was packed on the inside, and they had, Home Hardware had invited all kinds of female-led businesses, entrepreneurs, craftspeople, etc. So it wasn't just Home Hardware products that were there, it was all kinds of other vendors as well. So it was a really nice way for local women to support local women, and it was just great. It was a great community connector and really a lot of fun. So congratulations to Home Hardware on another great, successful event. And other than the things that have already been talked about, you know, Operation Christmas Miracle, the tree lighting, those are the highlights of the last 2 weeks for me. So, and again, as always, thank you, Council, for how you go above and beyond. It's you do a lot of work as it is, so when you do all this extra stuff, it's really very much appreciated. All right, item 15, business arising from Committee of the Whole. Though being none, we'll move on to item 16, which is adjournment. And the motion is that the Council of the Town of Grand Bay-Westfield adjourn the meeting at 7:33 p.m. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Bellman. Do I have a second? Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you, Council.
Aye.